framework?
I think Jenny's going to summarize this for us.
Okay, that's great.
So this is the red sheet, and the regulatory framework committee got together on the phone about 2 weeks ago and discussed Gene's proposal. Gene and I went back, we reformatted it a little bit. It's in 2 phases. Phase 1, catalog all of the regulations that are in Washington State, active in Washington State and Yakima County, and then also catalog additional regulations that are in the western states that we might be able to use in the Yakima groundwater area. Phase 2 would be taking those regulations and evaluating them. I think, there's a price tag of $250,000 on there. There's a lot of discussion out of the committee. Phase 1 would certainly not take $250,000. Phase 2 would probably be evaluation, having somebody who has a critical eye, advanced legal challenges, those things would take the majority of that. Could it be scaled down? There's been some discussion whether we could target specific sources, so irrigated ag or septic tanks, or we could just keep it comprehensive where it's looking at all of them. Or the other thing that could be scaled down possibly is phase 2. It's just we'd like to be able to take a look at phase 1 and then come back to the committee and ask for some additional funds to do phase 2. But this price includes all of it. Gene, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, let me speak from my heart. This is so very...
I don't know. It could be something touching the touchpad.
This is something that's so very, very important to me. And I feel like the Lone Ranger out here talking about this issue. But we have been looking at BMPs and voluntary practices since 1990. What we've been doing so far is just revising and refining what's already been done and what is not working. At some point in time, we really have to start taking this seriously. I feel so strongly about this that I did some preliminary work on what will happen if we do nothing. And the material's over there on the desk. It's my work, it's a draft copy, take a look at it and build on it. But if we don't do anything, we're going to be in big trouble in 20 years. Some of us may not be here, but our children and grandchildren will be here. We have a big responsibility here. In my opinion, carefully crafted regulations have a role to play. And this is not something that can be done easily or cheaply. It requires smart people getting together and talking about it. And I think $250,000 is very reasonable to bring in some people who are experts on crafting laws, good laws, that will protect the groundwater in the valley. So please don't look at this as something punitive. Look at it as infrastructure. Look at this as your highway patrol, making sure that your highways are running smoothly. Thank you.
Questions? Stu?
We've been going for a couple of years now. I think I missed one meeting. It must have been the meeting where we changed our mind. I thought we made a decision early on that we were going to do a cooperative approach with the community, with industry, and we were going to work together towards a solution. Regulatory approach by its very nature is not cooperative, it is coercive, and it is mandatory. If we go down this road, it'd be like handing you a beer and then stabbing you in the back. We can't be doing it this way. I just think we just cannot take this approach.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Not that I agree or disagree. We're just understanding right now what the proposal is. Okay, I don't mean to cut you off. You'll have your chance.
Vern, I think he's totally out of line, say this is like handing you a beer and stabbing you in the back. I think that's inappropriate.
So, in regards to taking a look at regulations that currently exist, am I off now, but didn't we have HDR do that? Don't we have a list of all the pertinent regulations now?
I think that's one of the first things we had to do.
Yeah, so that has been done. Now, it's just body of work, we really haven't gone through and looked at what's practical, but the accumulation of those regulations and stuff have been done and they reside in one place, so that, you know, that may help with the budget on at least the phase one.
Steve?
Yeah, Jean made a statement that we don't know whether she thinks regulatory activities need to be enhanced according to what they've got on the budget here from her committee. And she says that she doesn't think anything positive has happened in the last, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years as far as, I guess what she meant was out on the ag lands. And I think what we're trying to do here is gather data to find out exactly where we're at, because we don't know. She made the claim that sounds like that she thinks that things are status quo and nothing's gotten better. And I beg to differ with that. And I would ask her what data she's using. Tell me what data that you're using to show that current ag practices are still detrimental to the groundwater.
I'll give Jean an opportunity to answer if she wants to. I would like to keep, I appreciate what everybody's thinking. I don't disagree or agree, but I'm trying to keep this on understanding what the proposal is. We can debate its merits.
You said to ask questions, I asked questions.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't want to answer, that's fine, that's my question.
I'm sorry, would you restate the question?
I want to know what data that you're using to assume or make the statement, this was my perception, that you were stating that current ag practices are still polluting or lending nitrogen to the groundwater. How do you know that?
Would you take a look at the handout that I prepared, what will happen if we do nothing, read it, and then get back to me?
I don't think I have that handout.
It's over here.
There's handouts that are table here.
What handout is she referring to?
Actually, Jean brought it today. So there, she left some on the table here for people to get if they're
And is that data that we've all agreed is valid?
No, it's Jean's, it's paper as she described, that is her opinions.
No, it's not opinion, it's
Okay.
reference. So the references are there. Take a look at them and see what you think about them. One of the references is Lori's agricultural history of Yakima County. So it's not as critical as you're going to think. It takes a look at how the population is going to grow in the next few years, the groundwater demands in the next few years, loss of cropland in the next few years.
So my suggestion might be, so that's available for folks to take a look at, and then maybe this is a discussion that we have at the next meeting when there's been an opportunity for people to look at that and we have more time to talk about this in more detail. Fair?
I would agree that this discussion,
There's more discussion.
this proposal is way premature, and I certainly don't support it.
So I would say, are there other sort of clarifying questions that you have about maybe the way this would work? Maybe other clarifying questions about that proposal?
You know, I just have some comments. I'm part of the regulatory group, but I did a horrible thing. I went on vacation to my nephew's wedding, so I was unable to attend the meeting or look at or talk on the phone. So, you know, I guess I'm looking at this thing and I feel like when I read this proposal that it felt like we'd taken a hard left turn on the committee all of a sudden. And we had agreed on a lot of things in a 2-year plan, basically, which we had not started on yet. And so I think this proposal is extremely premature. And we need to stick with our original 2-year plan, which is going to be, in my estimation, a very mild budget, $3,000 to $5,000. And I think that would be the appropriate thing to do.
Tom, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I did want to respond to what Stu said. from the outset, if you looked at our foundational principles, we did include analysis of the regulatory system as part of the scope of our work. So either I missed the startup of the committee and several meetings and kind of scratched my head on why we established a regulatory framework group if we're not, as part of the scope of this group, analyzing regulatory programs as alternatives.
Okay,
The last one yours?
the last two are mine.
Okay.